Hey everyone, this is Kevin Pawlak with Emerging Civil War. I'm standing here at Antietam National Battlefield on the 160th anniversary of the Battle of Antietam, the bloodiest single day of combat in American military history, fought on September 17th of 1862. I'm standing here at the intersection of two roads, one wartime, one was not here at the time of the war, but it's one of the original park roads. That is Branch Avenue off to my left. Behind the camera is the Harpers Ferry Road, and behind me, a little bit less than a mile off to my east, is the famed Burnside Bridge, which Union troops carried at about 1 p.m. on the afternoon of September 17th under the command of Ambrose Burnside. Once Burnside's men were able to secure crossings over the creek, took the Union 9th Corps about 2 hours to form up into about a mile-long position, about 8,000 men total, and at about 3:15 on the afternoon of September 17th, they began advancing west and northwest towards the center and right of the Confederate line. Now, by the time that Federal attack started, the final attack of the Battle of Antietam, as we call it, Robert E. Lee had only about 2,400 infantry positioned here on the high ground along the Harpers Ferry Road that afternoon. They were under the command of David R. Jones, but Lee knew that reinforcements were on the way. About 2:30 p.m., A.P. Hill, one of Lee's division commanders, arrived in Sharpsburg, preceding the rest of his division, which had started marching from Harpers Ferry at about 7:30 on the morning of September 17th. After a march of about 15 miles, in 9 hours, Hill's men arrived using Miller's Sawmill Road, which connects to the Harpers Ferry Road just off to my left front. Hill ultimately brought 3 brigades into the fight, just as the Confederate line off to my right was breaking. Those brigades were under the command of Maxcy Gregg, a brigade of South Carolinians, James Archer, who was a native Marylander that was actually sick, and on the march up here from Harpers Ferry, he was so sick, he was riding in an ambulance, but as his troops approached the battlefield, he got out of that ambulance, again, the native Marylander wanting to lead his troops into battle on his native soil. And then the final brigade, the final of Hill's 3 brigades that was engaged here, was under the command of Lawrence O'Brien Branch. Gregg's men moved down the hill here in front of me into a 38-acre, commonly called a 40-acre cornfield, owned by Joseph Sherrick here. They hit the left end of the Union line. Also then, some of Lawrence O'Brien Branch's North Carolinians moved to my right to take advantage of a gap that had developed, about a half-mile gap in the Federal line. And then James Archer's men moved down the slope here in front of me, or behind me, excuse me. You might be able to see some of Branch Avenue there in the distance as well. By about 5:30 on the afternoon of September 17th, Hill's attack and some of the troops of D.R. Jones's men that had continued to rally and fight on despite their desperate situation were able to drive the Union 9th Corps all the way back to Burnside Bridge, not across the bridge, but just back to the heights above it on the west side of the creek. And by 5:30, 6 p.m. on the evening of September 17th, the Battle of Antietam came to an end with about 23,000 men claimed as casualties, killed, wounded, missing, or captured. About 1 person every 2 seconds for 12 to 13 hours of fighting on September 17th, 1862, 160 years ago today here at Antietam.